Hello, everybody. It's the end of the world. How are we doing?
Hi.
How are we doing? Is everybody good? Are we ready for a follow-up to last week's disgusting episode of Apocalypse World?
I'm 100%. I am 100% sure I can up the ante.
That's not your job. It's my job to do that. It's your job. Do you want to run the game and make everything gross? Because
I'm just trolling you.
Just trolling. I believe you though. Like it's for real trolling though. So welcome back, everybody. If you missed last week's episode, it was a doozy. There was a lot of stuff going on. I was talking about, because somebody was asking me between sessions. Somebody asked me on Twitter. They were like, "Why? Like my Apocalypse World is not as dismal and gross as your Apocalypse World. Why is that?" And I was like, "Well, I think the main thing you can really look at, especially lately, as being the cause of that tonally, is that when we introduced the playbook that is supposed to represent all that is good and beautiful in the world, she was terrifying, and her main jam is mutilating people. So, it's bound to be a little dark.
Yeah, I didn't consider that when I was making the character.
But it's great how it actually affects things. And the other thing is that the game started at what could only have been the high point for for Tynant especially, because the game is very much, Apocalypse World is very much about that there are no status quos, which means that nothing will stay the way that it is forever. And when you start on a high note, when you're like, yeah, I got this magic well and it heals people, we got this anarchist collective that runs these farms and they all kind of get along. The only place to go from there is down. So,
yeah, you see what I did there?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, by design. Well, what's interesting too is compare and contrast this series with the last series. The last series was, I would say, more violent in a classical sense, with bombs and guns and explosions and boat chases and stuff. But the Skinner, brief though his appearance was, the Skinner in that game was very definitely the shining lighthouse of beauty in the world.
I mean, he was an ex-mercenary murderer guy.
He was, but that was the thing, is that he was placed as the darkness was intended to be behind him rather than in front and all around. Yeah.
I mean, somebody it might have been you, Adam, that tweeted why is the Skinner called the Skinner?
Yes, yeah.
I was like, well, this is why I'm just flensing knife comment, because that's
right.
It's after Seymour Skinner.
Yeah, that was my response. So I asked Vincent Baker, because some folks in the Math Squad Discord were asking about why the Skinner is called that, because a lot of the other playbooks are named after what they do, right? The driver, the angel is seen that way by the characters, but the Skinner, it's well, what? I mean, the literal interpretation would be one who skins, but people are like, well, what does it mean? So I asked Vincent on Twitter, and he said it's one part BF Skinner and one part the body part, skin, which makes sense. But my immediate reaction was to post a picture of Seymour Skinner. That's where my mind goes, even though I wouldn't have characterized.
What is BF Skinner?
Psychologist. He's the guy the Skinner box is named after. Let me see. Skinner, BF. The short form is his name was Burhus. American psychologist, behaviorist, and social philosopher. Considered free will an illusion and human action dependent on the consequences of previous action. There you go. He invented the principle of reinforcement. So if someone does something and you punch them in the face, the chances of them doing that thing again is lower because they'll associate the face punching with the thing. Yeah.
Unfortunately, to punch all these people in the face and all stuff.
I mean, it worked real well for dice.
Positive reinforcement is a thing too, right? Giving them things for doing stuff.
What?
I know, right? Congratulations, you've learned a new philosophy. Sometimes when
we tried that.
It's true.
Look where it got us.
It doesn't work in Apocalypse World. There's no move for that. Yeah, it's true. So
it kind of is though. Seduce.
If that's what you think that move is about,
I mean,
you need to reassess.
Reinforce positive behavior.
if you do this thing for me, I will have sex with you. It's positive reinforcement.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I mean, if there's any move in the game that is positive reinforcement,
I mean,
It's not a good example of positive reinforcement.
to be fair, isn't like having to have sex with Brace like negative reinforcement? Super gross.
she is kind of like dead and gross. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's pretty gross.
Ah!
I'm into dead ghosts though.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? Yeah, let's not kink shame Tynant here. It's fine. You can be into whatever you want to be into.
The creepiest but best like OTP of the series.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man.
Have sex with Brace, and then you'll lose literally your identity. Speaking of which, can we talk about the new
Yeah,
the
let's
new
talk
Tynant?
about it.
Because
Wanna know.
What about them?
new Tynant, yeah, you've changed playbooks.
Yeah, I'm a faceless.
You're the faceless now. So what moves make sense to keep, and what moves have you left by the wayside?
So I got rid of my gang and my cult.
Okay.
I got rid of. Actually, here, let me open up the old character sheet so I can clearly see what I got rid of.
Mhm.
Lawbringer, gone.
Okay.
Water Bearer Special, obviously, gone.
Yes.
Peacemaker, gone. Embargo, gone.
Right.
Fortunes, gone.
Okay.
Hypnotic only works when I'm unmasked.
Okay.
Leadership, so the gang and leadership, gone. But I still have hypnotic when I'm unmasked, weather eye, the step into the flow, but it's going to involve brace now rather than the nice well and everything.
Mhm.
Oh, because yeah.
All are welcome, but it's the bodyguard move now.
Yeah, I was looking at it and I was like, oh, this is actually like a really good bodyguard move in this instance.
Yeah,
That's good. I'm glad we're on the same page. That's really cool.
And then for faceless moves, I took Juggernaut and Rasputin.
Fantastic.
So I take
Those are
-2 on
great.
all harm rolls, and then shot, stabbed, and poisoned. I just keep coming when I'm being scary as fuck and coming at someone. I get +1 armor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Damn.
I like it.
So when mechanically you choose to forfeit so many of your previous advances, do you get to take other ones, or you're just like,
No.
Nope. It's just how it is.
okay,
And so other relevant stuff. I also took Norman, right? Because I get 3 faceless moves. So I have Norman. When you seek the advice of your mask, roll +weird to see what it directs you to do. And I am envisioning my mask having the ghost of God, I can't remember his name.
October?
Yeah, October's ghost. And yeah, so
October's Ghost sounds like the name of a Evanescence album.
It kind of does.
And then unmasked, I am ashamed and irresolute. So I have hard 0 until I cover my face again, and I inflict -1 harm.
Excellent. Okay,
So
cool.
I'm real bad at hurting people unless I have my mask on.
So the threat formerly known as Tynant's gang.
Rip.
I mean, it's still a gang. It just doesn't belong to
Still a
Tynant.
threat.
So who stepped in to take over when you gave up leadership of the gang, when you were like, I don't want to have anything to
Who
do
was
with
talking all that shit yesterday, or not yesterday, but last time?
B.
Barber?
Barber.
Yes.
Yeah,
All
so I went up to Barber, and I had the box, with the finger bones in it,
Yeah.
and I just pushed it into his chest and told him you have everything you need to make this community work.
Yeah.
I leave it in your hands now.
Okay.
And just peace out.
Excellent. Okay. All right. So they're Barber's gang now. Lissa technically I think will be a part of Barber's gang, but she's still, I think she as a person, she's still interested in her loyalty and friendship with you. Until you reject or get rid of her. She's still part of the gang, but she's kind of caught in between. She wishes you were still around, I think.
Like a tiny autonomous part of the gang.
Yeah, I mean, she's still very much a part of that community, but she's known you as a person, not just as the leader of the pack, so to speak. Okay, so there's going to be some complex stuff. I'm going to need to write some stakes questions about how Barber's Gang and the Cult of Ghosts integrate or not. That'll be on y'all to sort of figure out, and by y'all I mean Brace.
This sucks. I was so close.
I mean, I don't think it sucks exactly.
No. I think just, it changes things.
Yes, it's just changed the authority because now Barber's Gang, there is no PC who has ludonarrative access to their behavior.
Yeah,
they just do what they want, and some of them care about. It's become a religious church versus state thing, right? Because some of them are like, but the well has become Brace, and we love the ghosts, so we're gonna we want to hang out with you. But the rest are like, yeah, but she's a usurper, and this is political. This is about the people that.
This was always just a community of people living here, and that's what it's really about, right?
Yeah. So there's some debate there. Okay, cool. I think that was predominantly. Because when I was going into the prep, I had prepped. Not assuming either way, but I wasn't sure whether you're going to keep the gang or let them be their own thing. So now that I know that, let me just make a couple of quick notes, and then we'll. Did anybody else take any advancements or anything last session that we haven't talked about?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about
I have impossible reflexes now. Which I did. I took it during last game, which is a Battle Bay advancement, and I get +1 armor when unarmored, and +2 if I'm nearly naked.
Nice. Cool.
I also took an advancement in between sessions, and boy, it's really hard to find ones that you kind of want, but after a lot of thinking about it, I added a couple of options to my workspace to both reflect and hopefully continue shaping how this weird sort of situation goes down. So I took machining tools.
Okay.
It's very legit, and also things we left unguarded. So I took some booby traps in case anybody tries to mess with my shit.
Nice. So it's becoming more and more like Fortress Ferris, and less just like your friendly neighborhood machine shop. Come on in.
Yeah, I figure now that we've got kind of people here a lot of the time, we're actually expanding the house, so there are areas that are just for stuff, and maybe where before there was just it was just sectioned off.
I mean, I think real estate is easier to come by. Real estate is easier to come by pretty much more now than it ever has been, given that everyone in the town is either slowly dying of thirst, enslaved to Trench, and so living in the apartment block, addicted to the drug that Trench is making, so a different form of enslavement, I guess, or hiding out in Bill's castle. So...
Yep.
There's a bunch of abandoned space around you that you can just be like, thank you, I'll take that. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so you've probably knocked down the walls between a few, between you and your neighbors, and started to integrate in more space. Cool. Yeah, and I definitely envision the Temple Town being less and less as time goes on, because I think a little bit of time has passed while the faceless thing gets sorted out. The gang kind of shuffles around a little bit. And Trench's gang continues in the world. So I think that the Temple Town is becoming less and less a sort of community of interconnected people, and more little enclaves of armed people hiding out and stockpiling what they have left, because no one's had any fresh water in a long time because the well got embargoed and then stopped working. It's still there is still water available. The water is still there. It's just not good like it used to be. So that's happening. Okay.
I took an advance for my followers. They are now rigorous and argumentative, surplus insight.
Rigorous and argumentative, just like you like your followers. Okay.
Yeah, they're just.
So can you describe what rigorous and argumentative mean?
I mean, I was thinking back on the conversations mainly with Deerfield when I was under judgment, and how like I feel like the judgment tag like of your followers aren't really yours, more like you're theirs. I am asking for their advice, like almost as much or more than they're like looking to me for advice or guidance a lot of the time. So I feel like in getting like insight from them and like communicating with them, and like the whole idea of them constantly like whispering to Brace, like when she's in surplus. Obviously last time they were not talking to her.
I envision the Cult of Ghosts as being like a Greek chorus. Like
yeah, very much
like,
so.
They're just in the background like explaining what's going on while all of you are having your dramatic lives occur.
They have a lot of information. They've been around for a really long time. Yeah. So I figured it would be how I was kind of already using it.
Okay. Yeah. I like it. Okay, cool. I think my countdown for now Barber's Gang and the Cult of Ghosts, I think these can stay. I think they're good the way they are. Okay, well let's get started with the various moves. I will say this, because of the change to the economy of the town, anyone who's living in Templetown, you are limited to spending 1 barter on your lifestyle. So even if you want to live Lux and Glorious, there's just not enough to go around for anyone to do that.
Cool.
Consider that a thing. Just getting like enough water and food is hard to do right now. But before that happens, we have fortunes to roll.
Let's see how this goes.
We should
Oh,
highlight
hold on. We
stats
should highlight
first.
before we roll. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Dave. Keep it up the highlights. Okay, so let's start with Heron.
So it's either Ferris or Brace. So Dave, you want to hook me up with a highlight?
As my ally in the cybergenesis, I want you to be rewarded for doing what you do well. So highlight hot for me.
Done. And Adam?
Well, like any good knife, you're best when you're sharp. So
Also true. Those are the same highlights from last. You don't have to change anything. It's great. All right. Next person.
yeah, let's do Tynan.
Brace, what would you like me to highlight?
I feel like you're gonna need to be hard.
If you weren't gonna do it, I was.
Great.
I want Tynant to be hot Tynant.
All right, we'll be serving it up.
Okay,
Serving it up hot and hard.
Brace.
Tynant.
Aw.
I mean, you pretty much only roll weird for doing everything, right?
A lot of stuff. Yeah, I think weird and sharp are my most used, because I still have one thing that's not replaced by for sharp.
Right, because you can only read people with weird.
Yeah, but situations I still read with sharp, and then I've replaced manipulate with weird instead of hot. So
I mean, I'll highlight your sharp because I feel like what we really need to be doing right now is figuring out what the fuck is going on and where the hell we fit in.
totally cool.
Assessing.
Mm-hmm.
Shame Dice didn't die at the temple.
Yeah, because then I could have you whispering in my head.
I mean, maybe you could leave the temple and go get some other ghosts. You haven't been out of there in a while.
Yeah, and if I get surplus, I could get growth and just gather ghosts from around. We'll see.
I want, so you have your sharp highlighted. I'm gonna highlight your weird.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, and Ferris.
Brace or Heron, so I'm going to ask Heron to do.
You're weird. Weird it up.
Thank you.
I mean, you gave me hot, like.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
I see what's going on. There's a little you scratching my back, I'll scratch yours what's going on here.
I mean, I'm not saying there's a metagame happening, but there's
Yep. Okay. I will highlight your. What did you highlight, Heron?
weird.
Highlight weird. Okay, sharp. Sharp for Ferris.
Perfect. Those are my best ones. Compared to last week where you made me do hard and hot, which I did.
I know.
I killed someone.
I know. You're.
I wanted that XP. I was like,
Razor blading that guy. Good shit.
Yeah, you're playing the game. Before we roll anything else, I want to just check on the current situation of hold between the deep web of hold between Tynant and Brace. So what's going on? Like, what's the currency situation there between the two of you?
Okay, so Brace has 2 in-brain puppet strings on me.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 hold on the puppet strings, and the command was
To set me up as queen of the temple, which now Tynant's pretty much given up. Like,
well, there's a difference. There's a big difference between saying I'm not the president and you're the president, right?
Yeah.
Like, Tynant, they've stepped back from the throne, but have not put you
I mean,
on it.
my statement is like he's not fulfilled it. Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's your.
But that they're in a situation where it's not going to be as easy, maybe, to fulfill it as it would have been. In my head.
Then I have 1 hold from the Hocus special, and 1 hold from the Faceless special.
And
the Hocus special
those
is
two.
that you can interfere or help at any distance despite any barriers.
And then the Faceless hold is that if you get into shit, one of either of us can spend the hold, and I am there.
Cool. Is the faceless one of the core playbooks now, or is it still one of the special
No,
ones?
it's still
It's
peripheral.
extra.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why. I just think I couldn't remember. Okay. All right. And then, Brace, are you still under the hypnotic?
How is that fulfilled?
I think it's just spent by the two of you.
Because you
Tynant,
use
can you
one
go over that
bit
for me?
to assist me in the opening.
So
of
you can spend the hold by
I
giving
do.
me something I want, acting as my eyes and ears, fighting to protect me, or doing something I tell you to.
Perfect.
I can spend the hold to distract you with the thought of me and make you act under fire, or give you a +1, and that's how that works.
So how many hold did you have? Because I remember you spending 1 to assist me in my opening my brain roll.
Yeah, so I have 2 hold left.
Yeah, you
So
both
you-
aced those manipulation
Yeah.
moves.
We did, yeah. So I will copy pasta what I can spend that for. What playbook?
That is a
It's a Skinner move.
Skinner move. Okay.
Okay. Sweet. Okay. So we need to roll some beginning of session moves. Fortunes, also bone feel, and then lifestyle. So do you wanna start? Because Blue Jay's doing some paperwork. Why don't you start, Ferris?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Hot fucking damn, though.
Feeling the bones.
Yeah. You have a firm grasp on that bone.
good. Yep, thank you.
Not actually what the name of that move means. It means you feel it in your bones. But okay, so this means you can be anywhere when you need to. I could be describing a scene. You could be like, boom, Ferris there.
Yeah, and since it's 10 plus, I also like the thing that I am trying to accomplish from putting myself in there is done at +1 forward.
Nice. Yeah, you show up ready to rock.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Let's do fortunes.
I'm crossing my fingers. Ah,
All right.
partial success. So what does that mean? Let me check. It means
You're surplus, but you
one
get
surplus?
1 want.
Oh, okay. So I get all my surplus.
Yeah.
They have surplus, but choose 1 want. I only have 1 want. So they are plus augury, plus growth, plus violence, plus insight, and plus judgment.
argumentative isn't a want?
No, that's a surplus.
Good. All right. They're violent, argumentative. So I was thinking before, I'm like, oh, you know, probably it'll be Tynant's people that pick this fight. That's probably not the case
It's
anymore.
no, it's okay. So they're eager, enthusiastic, successful recruiters. They disdain law, peace, reason, and society. They're rigorous and argumentative, but it gives you plus insight. So it's not necessarily like we hate you, argumentative.
No. I'm saying they're violent. They're successful recruiters. They have plus growth. This isn't going to be a war of like, we're going to shoot you in the streets. It's going to be Barbara's gang starts going missing. People just start like,
we take you in the
not
night.
waking up alive. Like people getting their throat cut in hallways. This is a like Sons of the Harpy shit. Like your cult is developing an assassin branch that is
I'm totally fine with that.
slowly bleeding Barbara's gang out.
Sons of the Harpy style.
So the cult of ghosts, they're taking people in the night. I'm pretty into it. That's good. Okay, cool. And so what is insight? And then you also get access to augury, right?
Yes, I get access to augury. Plus insight, I'm not sure how that is used.
It's a move in the basic moves here, and it's
when you're
able to go to someone for insight, ask them what they think your best course is, and the MC will tell you. If you pursue that course, take +1 to any rolls you make in the pursuit.
So I can ask the ghost.
Accomplish your ends, mark experience.
Didn't this used to be a savvy head move, or is it still?
So it is the savvy head move, often or right.
Right, but for
it's just that their move gives them insight for everyone else. Other people get access. Like the Hocus has always had access to insight.
Right.
I was a water bearer. If I went and talked to Lissa, Babylon.
So yeah, you used that before, didn't you?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
okay, so you can go to the cult and be like, hey, yo, ghost dogs, what do you think I should do?
Yeah, which I kind of need to do anyway.
And so I'm in the cult now.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Do I count as any of those things? Like, can Brace use me for augury or insight?
Yeah, maybe. I think it's predominantly meant to be NPCs, but I think it could be you too, fictionally. Like, I'm fine with that.
Cool. Yeah.
Whatever
Also,
makes sense for everybody.
Am I out being a successful recruiter, I wonder?
I don't know. That's up to you. Like, do you... Like, I guess this is the thing, right? How are you tied to the Cult of Ghosts because of Brace, or are you a part of the Cult of Ghosts and also, like, Brace's bodyguard?
I think it's mostly because of my association with Brace.
Right. So probably not. You're probably spending your time like watching over Brace and like making sure that she's okay.
That feels good to me.
Yeah, Deerfield is the one that's kind of like getting the ghosts to start taking people, helping them ascend from their mortal flesh. Yeah, so you know, every night it seems there's a few people that are chosen to join the Cult of Ghosts, and a few more bodies get added to the pile outside the mass grave from the big fight, you know, several days ago. Okay, so for lifestyle, let's talk about barter. So in Templetown, let's do you two first. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna spend your?
I pay a sweet barter.
Yeah, you got a barter to spend. Okay, yeah, that's right, because you've been doing.
I did a gig, yeah.
You've been doing body work. Okay.
Doing body work, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then Ferris, what about you?
I haven't had any barter for 6 sessions now.
Right. Okay. So,
No.
so you want to be in? My thought here is that Trench is taking care of you under promise that you're going to improve the product.
Yep.
Okay. And that fucking deadline's coming up. After this business with Scab, you know, Trench has some time to pay attention to the day-to-day of his business.
Well, things are not divisive anymore.
Yeah, he's in charge now, and so he can focus on the drugs. And so now he needs you to like do that shit, or he's not going to pay you.
Yeah,
anymore.
I mean, the end of the session, we'd already got to the position of me being able to repay it. So if time's passed, then
yeah. Well, would you like to?
drugs.
I was gonna say, in the interim, would you like to work a gig?
Um, well, I guess that depends because normally work a gig is like, I mean, it is in fiction, but the thing that the drugs are doing for me,
It's not.
from
Yeah.
I was gonna say you have two options, right? With the drugs, you can, if you work a gig, that's just like cutting them, helping Trench use less water to make them, like just being a good drug guy. Or you can do the savvy head thing and be like, Nipperkin gave me some cool ideas for this drug, and we're gonna make it into a different thing, and that'll be a savvy head project.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that one.
You want to do that one? Okay. All right. So you're improving the drugs, but you haven't been like, all right, cool. So the drug supply in town is, until you've like finished your whatever you're doing, it's like running lower and lower. The addicts, basically everyone in town is going to start taking D-harm. So things in Templetown are getting desperate. Most of the populace is addicted to both this and, you know, water, and now don't have either of those things. So people are starting to die of thirst and go through D-harm.
These are my favorite situations. Right
Yeah,
now.
it's real bad.
I'm real glad I'm lumped. I'm real glad I'm lumped in with
Yeah.
the
Hey.
drug addicted, water deprived motherfuckers.
Hey everybody, get addicted to this really intense drug. Oh, what? No, we don't have any more. Also, the water supply is turned off. Sorry. All right. So yeah, in the first days, you know, we see violence, squabbling, people fighting over what's left, people with stockpiles trying to protect it, both water and the drug supply. The weak will start dying basically right away unless they get more. And then also people are looking, they don't have water. So good stuff. Everything's great. Meanwhile, at the temple, where people do still have like food and some stockpile of water, let's talk about your lifestyle situation. So when you have surplus, Brace, you're okay, right? You don't have to.
Yeah, I'm cared for. I get one barter and use it to take care of myself.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll spend one of my remaining barter.
Okay, fantastic. Good stuff. All right. Yeah, and I think like while the people while the people of the temple that are living up there, you know, while they don't have access to fresh clean water anymore anyway, like the well is known to not be good for growing crops or drinking right now. There's still like a bunch of like cisterns of good water from before it went bad. So there's no D-harm to anyone living in the temple right now. But the town is going to start suffering it soon. So D-harm from drugs now, unless water gets sorted out. People will start drinking rainwater and stuff, start going through that, and then the temple will eventually run out. But you got lots of time. Okay, so
Saw that head shake.
yeah, let's start with. All right, let's start in the temple. So Brace, somebody tried to assassinate you. Somebody tried to kill you, because you're an affront to God and to the ghosts, and someone got brave and tried to murder you. Who was it? I just need a name for this would-be assassin.
Oh, just any name for a would-be assassin?
Yeah, it can be an existing person or not.
I think that Lang attempted to kill me.
Okay. And Tynan, obviously you were instrumental in preventing this. What was Lang's plan? Was it just to like, you know, Jack Ruby like walk up to you and try to shoot you with a gun thing, or was there some other method?
I think it was like an at night cover of darkness kind of thing. And they were trying to like, I mean, where is Brace living at right now? Like, where do you sleep?
Well, have we been attempting to reverse some of the harm that's been done to me? So maybe the like hospital in
Still in
Nipperkin.
the infirmary? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because I have harm that won't fix itself, so like that would have been important to try and take care of, right?
Okay, so in that case, yeah, I imagine it's like a just wait until the middle of the night, open the door, stab, sleeping brace
Okay. All right.
kind of thing.
So is Lang still alive? Do you have
Oh,
a
hell no.
No, you killed him. All right.
Yeah, it was like they come into this dark room in the middle of the night thinking everyone's asleep, and I'm just sitting in the corner and I'm awake the whole time. And so I see them walk in, and then I just like stand up, and they hear this like rustle of like rain gear, and then there's an axe buried in them.
Right. Okay. All right. So this is like immediately after. This is like the day after Lang attempted to kill Brace with a knife in her sleep. And what is to be done? You know that this was a conspiracy. This wasn't just Lang trying to do it,
Yeah.
for fun. What are you gonna do about it? I think the two of you are maybe in whatever room you're sleeping in. And Brace, you're still in pretty rough shape, right? Like you were on the hover between. Like,
I
you're
was
not gonna
at
get better on your own.
9.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I won't recover on my own, but I also won't get worse. Is there like, could we have like at all tried to fix that, or am I just like
Not on your own. No.
No. Well,
I
I'm
mean,
not on my own. Tynant's right there.
it's functionally still on your own.
I
You need Nipperkin could help, right?
Nipperkin could
Nipperkin's
help.
infirmary here, but no one's seen Nipperkin in a while. Nipperkin's been busy in Templetown.
Yeah, let Nipperkin help.
Yeah, let Nipperkin
I mean,
help.
no, like he's the guy, and
Yeah.
he's still theoretically he's like Lissa, right? Like he's loyal to Tynant as a person, not
Mhm.
he was never one of the fervorous like disciples. So
Okay, so I'm still at 9, is what you're saying.
yes,
Yeah, and there's this corpse on the
Great.
floor with a
That's
horrific,
fine.
massive axe wound in it.
So is this directly after like I wake up and I'm like, oh, like not having noticed like anything occurring because it was
Yeah, because I imagine if you're that hurt, you're probably sleeping pretty heavily right now.
yeah.
And yeah, so like that morning, Tynan doesn't talk about the like body on the floor at all, like offers no explanation, but will just like say, we should really move on from here.
And Brace like looks at Lang and kind of gets the understanding that something, happened. And is like also like super hurt. And she's like, before we can do anything, I need to be healed. Is that still something you think you can do? Because before with the water and everything, like
The source still has the power to heal, I'm sure.
and like she like touches the heavy feeling in her stomach and it's just like I don't know how to use this the way that you did. It is not as it was.
Well, it may be that things have changed, and I need to figure out however it is to draw on that once again. Ideally, with Nibberkin's help, which was always the way it was. The water only did so much. Proper medicine is still needed.
And like I motion around to the room, like once again, like noticing the body, and I'm like, Nipperkin has not been here. Do you know where we could find him? Or a
I saw
doctor?
he was working with Ferris.
I'm not comfortable leaving this place in the hands of your people.
And like Tynant gets up from this little chair that they're sitting on. There's a bit of a screech sound.
Mm-hmm.
They're not my people. They're just people. They won't tear this place apart. This is where they live. It's not a place that is safe for us anymore. Nipperkin, get you patched up.
Can I like, are any like ghosts like present for me at the moment?
Always.
Always. Yeah, I wanna like basically let them know that I need to like heal my physical body and thus leave, and that they will need to like, I don't know, poltergeist around here. And
So what do you do? Are you're telling them like I'm gonna leave? You can.
I mean,
this
because
place
they
is
don't come
yours?
with me. That was one of the things
That's
that
fair.
we
Yeah.
like. They don't travel with me. They're their little community of ghosts. They congregate in their own communities, which doesn't necessarily mean only at the temple, but the ones here, obviously. Yeah, I'm just like, yo, I have to go heal my body because like I'm broken, and y'all, you know, grow violent here, do your shit.
Yeah, I mean, what's the thing that you're saying to them here? Like, I'm gonna go, and while I'm gone, just kill everybody, or
Yeah, that's fine. Poltergeist, just cause trouble, make sure they don't have time to like bring a force against anybody.
so is this just something you suggest to whatever ghosts happen to be in the room, or do
I mean,
you,
I
do
guess
you,
it's. I
do you
don't think
want to
it's a
assemble?
location. I don't think it's a location thing. It's just like it's a psychic thing.
I mean, they're out doing shit, right? Like they're ghosts, and they're bound to this space and to you, but they don't just like hang out. They're just omnipresent.
No, I'm saying I don't think it's bound by like only in the room can I talk to these people, like these ghosts.
Yeah. What I'm saying is you'll need to like there has to be some ritual involved. There has to be some like you're.
I have to like call them.
Yeah, you have to call them and like have them assemble before you, that sort of thing.
Okay, well then I say to Tynan, like before we leave, I must like talk to my followers, like talk to the ghosts. So, you know, protect me while I'm doing whatever. And I like sit basically on the floor and just like close my eyes and close myself off because the well is no longer necessary for like ghost things. And I just like draw all my attention like inward to the heavy feeling in my stomach and just like call on the ghosts. Would that be like psychic maelstrom stuff, or
No, I mean I think it's just like putting the word out that you like want to have
a conversation with my followers? Yeah.
Totally. Okay, and you just want to do that here in the infirmary?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Might have a new recruit after all.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing. Like Lang's ghost doesn't get to just go away. Like he's just around. He's seen the error of his ways. He's amid the crowd of spirits that surround you when they're called to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Tynan, I think your connection to Brace has given you the ability to perceive, maybe not like as literally as Brace does, but perceive at least loosely the ghosts around you in a more direct way. You could hear them speak to you before, but now that they've been sort of freed from the temple proper, like freed from the well, they're more kind of like pervasive in the space. You can feel them like in your skin around you. And more so now than just generally because Brace is calling them. She's calling her sheep home. And both of you, again, like I was saying before, like the room is a lot more full than it appears. To an outside viewer, it's the dead body on the floor and the two of you. But to you, you can sense the presence of these ghosts sort of peering through the maelstrom in varying degrees of strength. And the cult of ghosts is assembled before you. You see Deerfield sort of most clearly, Brace, and he has blood on his hands and on the front of his like work shirt, and is holding a knife, like a ghostly like a woodworking knife, and he's sort of like wiping it off when he appears. But you have their attention. And this is an opportunity for you to access insight or augury, and then also to try to issue your edict to the cult.
Okay,
but
so
they are assembled. What would you like to do?
I mean, I want to ask them how are things at the temple? Like, obviously, after our physical followers didn't succeed in holding off the members of Tynan's old gang, our non-corporeal followers had a chance to have a go at it, I guess. And I want to hear back from them about that. So I ask them how are things at the temple? How are we?
Deerfield says to you, and he speaks for the collected ghosts who maybe are he's the closest to reality of all of them, and he speaks for them to you, and he says the violence that was called for, it's still coming. We're ready, or readying. These others, and by that he means the people who haven't yet converted.
Yeah.
And then he looks at Lang. He says, "They'll learn. All a matter of time.
Very good.
One night, and then the next."
And last time I don't know if I would have very clearly said to Tynant what I saw in the vision, but I know that the ghosts want me to go forth from the temple. So I say to Deerfield, it's time. I need to go forth from the temple, and I need to know that you all will continue your work here.
He kind of chuckles, and he's like, "Oh, it's time, is it? You've decided?"
Yes.
And he kind of looks around at the shapeless, maelstrom ghosts around him, and he's like, "Interesting. All right. Well, we can't go with you."
There are others.
Yeah, he looks at Tynant. And Tynant, I think he says to you, and you can see him more clearly now. He says to you, "It's better this way, Tynant. You still have a purpose. The transition could have been more graceful, but, well, it's the results that matter, don't you think?"
And I just deadpan him through my mask. Just
What does your mask look like?
I'm flip-flopping on it. I think it might just be a painted skull on a on a no eye holes, just piece of wood, basically, a little a small wooden mask that hangs down. And then I've taken to wearing this huge rain poncho with a big hood over it as well. So it's just I'm all obscured in general. And I have shit wrapped around my face, and then there's this little painted skull mask.
Cool. If I were to use augury to contain a fragment of the maelstrom, could that be bringing ghosts with me to protect me?
The ghosts and the maelstrom are two different things.
Okay, that was just...
Some of them are beyond the maelstrom, some of them are not. Yeah, so I mean, they can come, they don't have to, like you said before, they stay in their own community for the most part, but it doesn't mean that they can't kind of keep an eye on you. But right now they're focused on this place and this thing.
Okay. Well then, I could... Nipperkin's connected to the maelstrom, yeah?
I mean, everybody is. It's everywhere.
I could call on him.
Yeah, you could try.
Yeah, I could try. I could attempt to. Yeah, so I guess I talk to the ghosts who are present and say that I need them to help me find someone, and use augury to attempt to call on Nipperkin, find where they are, and get them to help me not be dying.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So that's definitely a thing you can use your followers to do. They have access to that sort of thing, and they could reach out and try to find Dipperkin. Do you wanna use augury?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's just roll plus weird.
I believe that it is. Yes.
Alrighty. Heck yes. So weird.
Oh yeah, look at that.
The weirdest.
Y'all are rolling good. Okay, so on a hit, you can choose one, and then on a 10 plus, choose two from the second list. So what would you like to do?
I want to reach through the maelstrom to Nipperkin.
Okay.
And it reaches broadly and is stable.
All right. Okay. So it doesn't reach that deep. You're skimming the surface of the maelstrom, and it won't persist for very long. So you're reaching out and connecting to Nipperkin. Okay. Okay. What does that look like? How do your ghosts do that for you? Is there like, do you know, is there chanting and bell ringing and, you know, sacred
I think
ritual?
that they leave to go, like, they are the augury. They leave to go find him. Like, that is what they do. Like, quickly, like, they just, like, vanish and go, like, wherever to find Nipperkin to, like, you know, be like, yo, Brace wants to talk to you.
Okay. So reaching through the maelstrom to someone or something connected to it, and then, like, because it isn't like a go get him. It's just reach out and it puts you in
that.
It connects you to him, right?
Mhm.
So they're not going to go out and get him and bring him to you.
No.
We gotta hit it on a more like psychic, like metaphysical level. Like there's some other thing going on where you are able to reach out and touch him spiritually, or whatever. It's not. I think in this case we need to be less literal with it.
Well, it's just like, I know that he's not gonna like just come to me. It's basically like, I need you. Like, where are you? Like, putting out feelers so that I can physically like make that connection.
Right. So it's less on your side and more on his. Right. Okay, so somewhere Nipperkin receives the imperative from a ghost that Brace needs to communicate with him. Okay, and so you're just gonna wait here for him then?
I guess I would ask Tynan that. Do we have the time to wait? Is my healing important enough to stay here for a little bit longer? Or like, must we hope that somewhere along the road we meet up with them? Or because you're obviously like, you've given up, Tynan's given up their hold over this place and they're done with it. And
yeah, Tynan's just like, we shouldn't stay here.
I think I would be confident with like going forth, and that whatever weird psychic shit, it would still be able to come to me. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean the reason I'm hesitant to be like, you reach through the maelstrom and grab him and he comes to you, is that's a different move. Like there's actually a move for that.
Oh, there's a move for that?
Yeah, and I don't want to use this.
There's a Skinner move where you can like
bring a thing. Well, I think it's just like Brace doesn't know anything about where they are, what they've been doing, or in any way how to communicate. There's not like a cell phone, you know, that I can just call and be like, hey, like I need to be healed. Like if there was just a way to get like a visual image from the maelstrom, like this is where you would need to go, as opposed to getting like she needs you. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the reach through is like, I would be into you having a conversation with Nipperkin now by way of the maelstrom, right? That like the ghost channel Nipperkin's like psychic whatever, so that
that's
you can
fine
talk to him.
too.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe that's what happens, right? Maybe the ghosts can connect the two of you through by way of like the maelstrom. Okay, so what does that process look like? How do the ghosts connect to you?
I feel like normally I'm hearing like a lot of whispers and stuff like around, like from the ghosts. The more like less corporeal ones are the ones that just like want to like shout about something or what have you. And when I reach through the maelstrom, like using the ghosts, they kind of like bring my presence a little bit out of myself, like into like a little, like I'm not like stepping into the maelstrom or whatever, but like a little bit out of myself in the same way that like Nipperkin is connected to the maelstrom, and they're like, hey, like come on, like she needs to talk to you. And so it's just like I'm sitting there, but I'm no longer like consciously in my body.
Yeah, I like that idea. I like the idea of like it's like astral communication, right? You're both meeting in some other place as facilitated by the maelstrom, but you're both physically wherever you are.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. All right. So I assume Tynant, you're gonna like keep watch over Brace's body while this happens.
Yeah,
Okay. All
of course.
All right, so somewhere Nipperkin is in the middle of doing something and then just kind of passes out, and is removed from his body. It won't last long, and there's no weird bleeding. But he's not buried deep in the maelstrom, so you can get at him. What does this place look like? Is it a space constructed from the raw like psychic chaos of the maelstrom by the ghosts? Is it made up of things from your memory and Nipperkin's? Like what do the ghosts use to construct this?
I think it is like places from memory. I don't think that there's a way to conceive of like how weird psychic nothing looks like. So I feel like we're both probably thinking of a place where we've both been together in the same space. So maybe it's like a weird like roof torn off, like,
oh, so it has to be like a shared memory, someplace you were both at. Okay, so I think we see like a sort of freeze frame of the last time that the two of you interacted, which was it in the infirmary? I think it was, and you were injured and he was like treating you.
I don't remember any time after that where Nipperkin and I were like in a space.
No, that was definitely the last one.
Let's do the opposite. I wanna know. Tell me about when you met Nipperkin the first time. Let's go into that memory.
Because I was a part of Dice's gang, and I fled and came to the temple to like not be a part of Dice's gang.
Yep.
And Tynant was
you stole the first time you met him. You stole some of his like scalpels, right?
Yeah. So like Tynant like did his whole like if you work you can eat and da 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 da, not knowing how weird and like not gonna do that I am. So yeah, I feel like it was like if you get like a tour of the temple, like when you first come in, like this is where this happens and this is where that happens. Like they brought me to the infirmary because that's an important place to know where it is. And that was when I first met Nipperkin, and I was probably like doing a weird thing where, you know, like you run your hands over stuff and then you just like take it.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you look different? How does Brace see herself differently than the world sees her? What's your projection of yourself?
Like now or before?
Now, right now, yeah. Like, cause you're your own idealized like self, right? It's your astral form or whatever. So what do you envision yourself looking like? What does Brace think of herself?
I feel like Brace is still kind of locked on like when she was in the well. Like that's still like a moment where like it changed, like that whole like thing, that whole time, however long it was, like she doesn't know, like it changed how she thinks about herself and how she acts and everything. So like if she is envisioning herself, like she's just like floating there, and then the ghosts are just the bodies that are all like in the well.
So your hair is all like suspended in the air, and you're all bloated and
no, she's bloated and gross and suspended and
okay. So you're in this room and you're floating, and you're floating over a freeze frame of like Nipperkin in the memory turned away from you, and you with your hand on one of the scalpels like sneaking it into your pocket, and those two figures are frozen in space, and everything there is sort of desaturated and grayed out, but you've got your saturation turned up, so you're like more brightly colored and more like obviously real.
Well, and if she's in the well in like well mode, then she would also be all like weirdly phosphorescent and like
and
totally
dripping and
Yeah. And so we see the door of the infirmary, and it opens but also stays shut. So we get like another overlay of it opening. And Nipperkin steps into the infirmary, but Nipperkin's idealized form is like, it's like every 50s portrayal of like a scientist. Like he's got a perfect white lab coat on. If this were a TV show, the actor would have had some kind of like very subtle facial like prosthesis put on to strengthen his like collarbones and his chin and his jawline. His hair is like this perfect black, like slicked back thing, and he looks like spotless. And he's holding a clipboard, and he steps into the room. He's wearing just like slacks and like dress shoes and a dress shirt, like some pens in his pocket. He's got a bow tie on, and what's that?
Does Nipperkin wear glasses?
He used to. They're an easy thing to break or lose. But he
Okay.
yeah.
I'm totally getting Hojo vibes. Like he's that kind of creepy person now.
Yeah.
I've not had a mental image
Yeah.
before.
Like I have that same mental image, Dave. The like, yeah, exactly. Damn it.
I'm into
Good.
it.
Put it
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, so maybe he's got these little gold like spectacles in his pocket. And yeah, he opens the door and he comes in with that kind of like, I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like every doctor enters a waiting room in exactly the same way. There's just this kind of like I'm busy, but I care about you, but only like a little bit. Like let's see what's wrong. So he like walks into the room and he looks around and he looks at you, and he says, he's like, "Oh, you poor thing. Have a seat. Let's get a look at you."
And Bryce is just like, this is weird, but all right. And she goes to like sit on the table, and it's like very reminiscent of like every like moment she's ever seen Nipperkin, because she doesn't associate with him outside of like, I'm hurt, help me, or I want to take your stuff. So yeah, like she's just like, all right, and sits down.
Yeah. And he takes his little stethoscope and puts it in his ears, and he like puts the little thing like on your chest. He's like, "Okay, take a deep breath."
And I do.
Okay, sure. Yeah, and he nods and like kind of clucks his tongue. He's like, and like writes something down on his clipboard. And if you look at it, it's just he's just scribbling gibberish. Like he's drawing like
Nonsense.
weird sigils and like writing backwards. And yeah, and he's just like, very interesting. And he like walks over to the desk, and he reaches out, and on the desk we see a tin, like a coffee can with the label like peeling, but he picks up like through it, he picks up a glass jar of like tongue depressors, like takes one out. He walks over, he's like, "All right, open your mouth."
And I'm starting to be like, this is not like, is this Nipperkin? I need your help.
And he stops. He's like holding this he's holding this piece of wood, this little like tongue depressor, and he kind of looks at you like he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you." And he like puts the tongue depressor down, and when he puts it on the table, it turns into a cockroach and like skitters away.
Yeah.
And he takes out his glasses and puts them on. He's like, I'm so sorry." And he kind of leans in, and he's like, it's Brace, isn't it?"
Yes.
"Huh. I don't know why I didn't recognize you. What can I do for you?" And he smiles at you, and you notice that his left iris and pupil, the pupil, the black part, is leaking like a broken egg yolk. It's like leaking into the rest of his eye.
Okay. And I'm just like, kind of like, what is this? Like, this is, it feels, I mean, obviously I've never been in this space before, but it feels weird. Brace is used to that. But anyway, and so I say to him, like, where can I find you?
He says, "Oh, I've been very busy. Ferris and I, we've been working on something, big project. I think it's going to pay real dividends."
Ferris. Is that where I can find you?
He nods. "Oh, I'm back and forth, here and there. Templetown mostly. Elsewhere sometimes. I'm a very busy man.
If I go to Ferris, will I be able to see you there in real space? I need your help.
And he nods. Well, of course. Of course. Why don't you take this? And he turns around and he picks up a pad of paper, again, picking it up from nothing. And he writes on it. He writes something on it and he folds it up and he gives it to you. And he's like, take this to Ferris. He'll know what to do.
Okay. And I go to grab it. And is it like, I mean, obviously I'm not physical here, but is it
Sure.
something I bring back with me?
I
Or
don't
do
know.
I have...
I mean, you're still in this weird like communication space you set up, but
Yeah,
he hands
so
you a piece of paper.
he hands it to me and I look at it so I can remember if it doesn't like come back with me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a prescription pad, but you can't make sense of anything.
It's just
like,
nonsense.
Yeah, it's just like a scribbled, like an arcane diagram. And actually, for anyone watching, it looks like the scars that Heron puts on people. It's this like intricate, like, yeah, it looks like exactly like a pattern. And maybe we've seen it before. Maybe it's on someone, but it's intentionally like kind of we only see it for a second.
Okay. And I'm assuming because like I didn't make this a long thing, like.
Yeah, you can see it like starting to crumble around you. It's, you look at any object for too long and you can see it kind of coming apart in these little, like, because we're seeing through your paradigm, it looks like drops of ink in, or like dark tea in water. So it's like the edge of the table is sort of coming apart in these like fluid wisps.
Mm-hmm. And I say to Nipperkin, like, I will go to you. I will be at Ferris's. Wait for me there.
And he nods and he says, well, you've been such a good girl. And he turns around and he picks up another jar from the kind of, he unscrews it and he holds it out to you, and it's full of like brightly colored, probably the most brightly colored thing you've ever seen in your whole life, because the apocalypse. These little plastic wrapped candies on sticks, and there's all these different colors, and he holds it out to you. He's like, why don't you take a lollipop?
I take one, assuming that I feel like it's probably not even gonna like come with me. So I'm like, all right, like weirdo.
Yeah, and there's this very like clear sound of the wrapping on the lollipop, like crinkling as you pull it free from the rest. What color is it?
Blue.
Okay.
It's blue raspberry.
Okay. Blue is scientifically proven to be the best flavor. So you pull it free, and there's this little perfect like sphere of shiny candy on the end of a cardboard stick, covered in plastic wrap. And yeah, you pull it out and look at it, and when you look back, you're just in the room. You're back where you were before.
See, but actually, I'm carrying her down the road.
Nice.
Already?
Dude.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do I have anything in my hand?
I've just got you like, scooped in my arms with my like giant rain poncho covering you. So you're like inside of this. It's almost like being inside of a tent. And there's just like the rustling sound as I carry you down the road.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
okay.
and I think before we go to break, what we see is you open your hand, and you're clutching this like blue lollipop. It's still exactly the same, but we get this real tight shot on your grubby hand, and the lollipop, and we can see through the surface of it. So it's still this beautiful like bright blue color. There's the plastic wrap, but through the surface of it, something is like slowly kind of wriggling around inside of it, like a larva inside an egg. We can just see like movement under the surface.
Yeah, well, I don't think that I would know that this is something edible because of the color.
No, you know exactly what it's for.
I know what it's for.
Yeah, you instinctively like you see it and you know it's like a delicious thing.
It's
to
a
eat.
lollipop.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah. So that's what we see. We just see it in your hand. We see something like grub-like or something like wriggling around inside of it, and then we cut to break there. So.
Okay.
Cool. Let's take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll see what Heron and Ferris are up to in Templetown, which it's not doing so well. I'm excited to see how you're holding up. So yeah, stick around. We've got more Apocalypse World right after this.